Is this one on?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to welcome everyone here. We have a number of guests that throughout the program will be introducing. What I would like to begin with is the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance will be provided by Shirley Lambert.
Let us pray. There are many among us who have been given the gift of leadership and the confidence to lead. We are grateful for Jim Miller's wisdom because he never lost hope that our Rotary would succeed during a very difficult year. Bless all the board members as we enter into a new Rotary year, as they enrich our lives and those of others we serve as Rotarians. We ask these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance. Okay, we'll start again. Okay, so I pledge
allegiance to the flag which it stands, one nation, under
liberty and justice for all.
Steve, could you do your introductions?
Absolutely. Few guests here today. And if everybody on Zoom could mute themselves, I would appreciate it. Talking about you, Win. You're out there, Win. Can you Zoom or mute everybody? All right, cool. We have first, let's all give a one clap welcome to our current district governor, Steve Heiser. Oh, that's like 7 claps. Next, we have our current assistant governor, Wolf Bland. Let's give him a one clap welcome. Much better. And last but not least, let's give another one clap welcome to our district governor-elect, who will be installed officially as our district governor this Saturday, June 26th, from 2 to 4 p.m. at her home club, the Zanesville Daybreak. Although this is my first time meeting her in person, I feel like I've gotten to know her through our monthly president-elect calls that occurred over the last 12 months. And I would describe her as an unending well of positivity and passion, and she has this way of just creating a ton of excitement for Rotary. And so I'm just very excited to be able to serve my presidential year with her as our incoming district governor. Oh, I'm sorry, MJ Shackelford, yeah. If it's not on the script, I'm lost. And then I see we have another guest, Peggy, I believe. Is this your guest?
Yes, my granddaughter, Johanna.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
And tell what Johanna did several years ago.
Yes, Johanna was one of the ones that volunteered to box the books for Mongolia. She volunteered.
Fantastic. All right, Jim, things back to you.
Okay. We have now some announcements, and first of all, Peggy, can you come up? Appreciate that.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Glad to see all the dignitaries here today, honoring our presence. As you know, this is the second week that we're collecting for kidney cancer. And you know that it's an endowment with the James Cancer Hospital. We will also be collecting at Raw also. With COVID and everything, you know, the funds have been down a little bit, but we definitely need to get that back up. Our goal again is a total of $225,000 for our endowment. We're this close to getting it. It's like polio. We're this close to getting it. So we need your help. And with that help, I have my granddaughter Johanna here today, and she's gonna be passing the hat around. I thought you couldn't refuse that cute face, so you can refuse me, but it'd be tough to refuse her. So she's going around and collect that. So anybody have any special donations? How about Alan?
I do have a check for check cancer as well as a number of bills, and I would encourage everybody.
We appreciate that, Alan. Thank you very much.
Where do you send the checks, Alan? I just handed the pay.
Now, one of the things that I want to announce very clearly is that every dollar that we put in, the board will match that dollar as part of the, what you, so think about, before you put money in the hat, think about that, and here.
Thank you very much. They were gonna match up to $1,000, so we appreciate it.
Okay, good. Next, Roger Johnson has a special announcement. Go ahead, Roger.
As you all know, Pat and I got married about 17 years ago, and we have 5 children between us and 13 grandchildren. We want to talk about the 4 oldest grandchildren. Jack went to Miami, Ohio on a football scholarship and graduated last year. He was named the academic football player on his football team. And then he's got a job with Reynolds and Reynolds right now in Dayton. And his sister, Julia, or Jamie, went to Ohio State and has a degree in nursing, just graduated last week, passed her nursing exam, and starts at Children's Hospital next week. And her sister, Julia, graduated from Miami, Ohio last week, or a couple of weeks ago. In 3 years, that's why all these 3 kids, same family, in the same year we were graduating. But she did in 3 years, didn't want to have a big debt. So she's got a job in Deer Park, Cincinnati, teaching elementary 3rd and 4th grade. And I think some of you know my daughter Jennifer, she's a former Rotarian. Her son Luke went to Columbus Academy, president of his class, quite a track star. And the several schools were after to run track, including the military academy and the Naval Academy. He starts the Naval Academy next week. That's why
Roger, they must have got.
Yes.
I feel like I have to put in $1 for Roger because I'm thinking of all those weddings he's gonna have.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate that. And yes, Alan, you have your mouth clear? I'd like you to come forward. Yes. Yes. You have a special request.
I do.
Yeah.
I would just like to ask us to take a moment to remember Bill, whose anniversary of his death happens to be on Friday. So, thank you all.
Thank you. Well, this is the end of my year as president, as will be officially at the end of by the end of this meeting. And 1 year ago, I came to you to talk about the next year. And wow, it's been a year. And as I spoke to you then, I had no idea how long the pandemic was going to be, the challenges we were going to face, and how much this club would stand up to those challenges. A year ago, I actually was reading when I found out that I was going to become president, the Doris Kearns book, Leadership Under Turbulent Times. There was no other book that I think could have helped me more. It is about 4 presidents that have come forward in our most difficult times. President Lincoln, both the Roosevelts, and President Lyndon Johnson, and what they faced. There are a lot of things that, and a lot of research that's gone into leadership. But I will tell you, someone who has researched leadership a great deal, none of them have a consistent image of what makes a great leader. All of the leaderships that have been studied have different structures and ideas about what's helpful, but they also state very clearly that are different kinds of leaders. Often we think about someone who is brilliant, and which I am not, which are charismatic, which if I have any charisma, it's about this much. And that's our image. But the thing that struck me most about the description of those 4 presidents is, one, they're different. They were extremely different in their approach, except for in one factor. And that's that they had a team, and they relied on that team. And so last year, I said very clearly that leadership is a team sport. And it is. And for us, it was. And I have to thank everyone in this room, because as I look around the room, everyone here contributed to the leadership of this club in a very critical way. And from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate that. It was dizzying thinking about, how do we hold a club who never meets face to face? How do we maintain the projects that we have? That was quite a challenge. We are now getting back face to face, and I want to thank Trent again for his willingness to have welcome us here, or we'd still be sitting on Zoom. But as part of that, everyone in this room has had to be creative and different in some way. Had some of you some critical decisions. We had to choose what we were going to do and what we weren't going to do. We formed even a committee to decide almost on, that met quite often during the past year, to decide how we're going to approach and whether or not we were going to meet face to face outside of Zoom. The one thing that is important in Rotary is fellowship. We get more done in a meeting where we're meeting face to face than we can throughout the week trying to call, email, and do other work. We build trust, we build connection, and we were still able to maintain that. We'll talk about Steve a little later, but one of the things that I have to certainly say is that there was no better person to step forward to help us in the challenges than Steve. And you'll hear more about that later. And it is by no accident that he is Rotarian of the Year this year. He had numerous forums, numerous times that he worked with us. We never, as many clubs had, to do stops and starts regarding meeting in person. We didn't have to do that because we did an excellent survey. And we went to Zoom meetings, and when we restarted up with hybrid, we had full attendance. We had excellent attendance in our hybrid meetings. So thank you, Steve, and we'll hear more. And that's the way it was. There were many of you who agonized about how you would begin things and how you would do things. And I'm going to try to get through these quickly, but I would like you to turn to the last page of your program. And look, because I'm going, if you don't have one, please go get one. Because I'm going to talk in kind of in order about how we met challenges and what we accomplished. Until you really look at what we got done, it is truly amazing how much we were able to maintain. There are several things that we were not able to do, but those were because some of those things were impossible. But most of the things we found a way when it seemed at the first discussion frequently that those were impossible. I'm going to start with Community Service Committee, who did a tremendous job this year coordinating all of our community projects. They are responsible for everything that's listed below that committee's name. And they not only were able to do that, they actually began a process of strategic thinking that will probably lead us to a strong partnership you're going to hear about in the next week at one of our elementary schools, which will in fact bring us to a level in the community we've not been before of having a central focus to some of our community projects in terms of how we reach out in this club. But I'm not going to go into detail, but they worked hard to get there. Project leaders, each one of them had to figure out how or if they could do the project. We did a holiday adopt a family, and Peggy led that. She also did Arbor Day and is finishing up with Kick Cancer. All of those were challenges. Holiday gift distribution. Darnell, who is not here today, but I need to recognize, was able to organize a group to deliver in the middle of December safely to families that were identified at the high school, having wrapped presents for children during those holidays. Family mentor, I had to make the tough decision not to be able to move forward. The pantry, we not only did one, but we did 2 drives that raised over a ton of food for each pantry in Dublin and in Worthington, and $1,000 for each. That's a tremendous accomplishment and was done in the middle of a pandemic, mass and safe. We did the poinsettias. And of course, there we have Mike Moulton to thank a great deal in terms of figuring out how to deliver those safely and get them distributed. And we had a strong team that in fact passed those out. We have with a new project, which again, we're in the middle of a pandemic and we start some new stuff. And that is Rich, who I think is online, began an awards program for community members, which we'll recognize in the next couple months by inviting them 3 specific members of our communities that in fact have made great contributions this past year in the middle of the pandemic. We had Interact, and not only got the group to meet, but my understanding is you did at least 3 major projects within Interact. How you do that when schools are closed is beyond me, or struggling with online. You did it, and you've done very well. The scholarship, again, starting something new. We worked with Worthington and have now a scholarship that provides to a Worthington student a full 2-year ride to Columbus State. We're not talking about a small thing. We're talking about changing an entire life who would not have been able to go to Columbus State will now have the resources to do that. It's a full tuition ride amounting to a $10,000 scholarship. We also, under Darnell's leadership to do that, and delivered 3 scholarships to Dublin students, which you met yesterday. And I have to say, those were some of the finest students we've ever recognized in terms of their service. We went on with, in fact, the International Service Committee. The pandemic actually helped them in a strange kind of way. They began to do Zoom meetings, and not Zoom meetings within just our club, but Zoom meetings with both Mongolia and the Dominican Republic, and have had a number of those meetings. We're looking forward to one that will, not just an individual, but an invitation to the entire club in Mongolia that we're trying to coordinate coming up. And they continued with all of their projects. I'll mention that they're giving out more scholarships than we've given in the last few years than they ever have. Rotary International Foundation, we had a tremendous drive in terms of our 125 Club. And that was helped out by Allen's holding actually a Poor's online event where we kind of drank a little bit. And we held that totally online and got contributions for the International Polio Program. Going down to meetings, we had tremendous meetings this year online from a lot of speakers. And I think Joe needs recognition for some of the highest quality speakers we've seen. And we got many of them because we were on Zoom. We had those next group of folks who come with meetings. We had them integrating into the club as we began to come back from the hybrid meetings. But many of them had to do extra work to do that. The last one will be adding, or ones, are both greeters and raffle at our next new meeting, or breakfast meeting, I'm sorry. Membership was a challenge this year, to say the least. But I think Alan and Teresa are working hard on beginning this next year with a tremendous membership drive. And if there was anything we needed this last year, which we actually didn't have much of, it was a weak committee for this organization, was communications and public relations. And Steve not only formed a committee, but each one of those folks I've listed need recognition, because every week they in fact do something on their own. That includes our newsletter, our public social media, our writers, and our member spotlight, which is new. We do actually a member spotlight every week now, thanks to Paul. Awards committee, Jim Farmer led that up. Katie has done, and next week I make sure everybody shows for the rah-rah. And she had to come up with some interesting ways to go. We also, in fact, had a holiday party that we had every element of that holiday party was part of. One of those things is that we, in the middle of it, we held a raffle that we actually, from the raffle, are now providing one new scholarship for someone to attend 4 years of college in the Dominican Republic because of that raffle that we held as part of it. Thanks to Steve in terms of figuring out how to hold a raffle online. Poinsettia sales, Mike Moulton stepped up again, along with Dick. We had an excellent sale. And the silent auction. Now, Shirley, I will tell you, told me 3 times before she kept going with the silent auction. She thought it was impossible until she thought of her friend, Paula. Well, we got a volunteer, but with her, Paula, who is Mike's wife, to do an online virtual auction, which we again raised close to what we had risen before in terms of things. And we did a sponsorship drawing again. To give you an idea, most clubs had dramatic drops in their funding. We did not. We actually raised, we could have done a little better because of the family picnic, but Jerry's working on that for the Labor Day coming up, that we will hold a family picnic then. But that's basically the only fundraiser that we did not run this year outside of the others. And financially, what really kept us stable was in fact the drawing. So when I say it takes, leadership is actually a team sport. You're one of the best teams I could have imagined this year. That if you haven't picked it up, this year's NBA was a little bit different. No superstars that we traditionally look at. It was mainly the regular players of the NBA that made that a great tournament this year. The same is reflected of this club. There are no single superstars. I do appreciate, especially the executive committee who spent their life on the phone with me, who were willing to step up. Jerry, thank you for your humor. And tell Anita you're busy.
I'm trying to call you.
Tell them you're in a meeting. And, boy, that was on cue, Jerry. And is kind of the receptor. He actually holds the history of this organization in his head at any moment. Jennifer, who I call up time and time again, and with her busy schedule with the school board, still finds time almost every day that I've called on time to call me back and give me a straight answer to what's needed. Dave, I gotta tell you, you take the best minutes I've ever seen. And you keep us on track when we have a motion on the floor. It takes a good secretary to keep the president straight on what's the motion. And you do that well. And again, a guy I can call anytime and you're gonna call me back within minutes. I appreciate that. John, we're gonna talk about you later, but I wanna say that you are the one who offers immense help whenever it's needed. You're always on the ball, always listening. And when you've got a form, a document, an idea, you aren't shy, and that's good. And we appreciate it. And Teresa, I have to say, I appreciate your insights. You always have kind of a different slant on occasion and come up with it, and you're one of the straightest shooters I know. And I appreciate your support throughout the year.
She wishes that were true on the golf course.
With that, I will need to end with who my partner is, and you don't get up yet. Because there, many times people ask, who's the last person in the room with the president? Steve's the last person in the room with me. He is a true partner. There were weeks on end that we would talk almost every day. I never felt I could make a clean decision without Steve. And we'd work with it, we'd massage it, and he never said no to me throughout the year. He has become a good friend of mine. But more than that, he's a great Rotarian. And as we move forward, I think you'll recognize that if you already haven't. And so Steve, you're the next on the agenda?
Yep.
So come on.
Thank you for those kind words, Jim. Before we introduce our new officers and board, I'd like to thank our current 2020 to 2021 board members, and that's a bit of a tongue twister. Our board this year was faced with a lot of unique and difficult challenges surrounding, the passing of Bill Shantz and of course the global pandemic. It was really a 1-2 punch to the heart and the mind. However, with the support of our club members, the board came together and we successfully navigated through the year, and whether we've liked it or not, we've all grown. Our club is lucky that these Rotarians rose to the occasion for our greater good, and so I'd like to thank each one. Please stand if you hear your name, and if you're on Zoom, you can stand there too. Vice President Teresa Russell, Secretary Dave Hansen, Treasurer Jerry Katz, Jennifer Best, Christy Bruffy, Courtney Chapman, Dave Kittredge, Nick Linkenhoker, and Ro Morrow. Let's go ahead and give everybody a round of applause. We're lucky that all of these board members will be staying on the board through the next year, and we will be gaining 2 more, which we'll hear about shortly. But we will be losing 1 board member, and that is, of course, John Butterfield. If everyone would join me in raising their bottles of vodka, I assume. John, we all thank you tremendously, not only for your year as president, putting Jim and I in a great position to carry the torch, but for all the work you've done to help us keep the club together over this past year. You are truly an asset to the club. Cheers. And lastly, I'd like to thank our president, Jim Miller. As we all know, Jim was thrust into leadership a year earlier than expected, just like myself. And I remember a phone call Jim and I had, which had to be around, this time last year, where jointly we were basically asking each other if we were both ready to embark on this journey of being the president and the president-elect. Now, I'm terrible with details. My wife would agree. I tend to remember sentiments or contexts or feelings of the situation. And so what I remember from the call was that there was a palpable nervousness and a bit of uncertainty. I think we both knew that we had to say yes, but we were both slightly afraid to say it out loud. Once it became obvious to ourselves that yes, indeed, we were going to do this, Jim immediately asked me essentially that we commit to doing this together. And, of course, we're going to do it together, but I knew what he really meant. Like you mentioned earlier, it's a team sport. And I thought that was a great sign of his leadership, and it was comforting to me that his go-to solution to the problems we were about to face was to be collaborative and inclusive and team-oriented. From there, we got to work. In reflecting on the last 12 months and how closely I've been working with Jim, I realized just how fortunate we were as a club to have someone like him step up into a leadership role at a time of crisis. After all, Jim spent the majority of his career as the executive director of a nonprofit wherein he had to deal with situations and people in crisis on a daily basis. I can't think of anyone else in our club who might have been more prepared to help over the last 12 months. His steady, measured, thoughtful approach in response to our club's needs and problems as they arose, I attribute as a key reason we made it through the last 12 months with essentially scrapes and bruises. I know other clubs weren't so lucky. Jim rose to the occasion time and time again over the last year to ensure that any service project we could pull off, we did, even if that meant he had to be majorly involved in making sure that it could happen. And personally, I've grown to know Jim on a whole other level. Honestly, I hardly knew anything about him 12 months ago, but working as closely together as we did, I had a chance to learn about his career, his family, and his passions, like that he's an avid runner. We all got to know Jim better, and it's amazing how Rotary brings us together like that. He even brought a family member to present to us. We also learned that Jim isn't the most coordinated runner when he showed up to a Zoom meeting looking like he lost a boxing match. So we all owe Jim our gratitude and appreciation. And with that, I have a thank you gift on behalf of my club, myself and the club. 1 second. Come over here, Jim, if you will. I have, I'd like to present to you a $100 gift card to an all-vegan restaurant called Woodhouse Vegan. I don't know if you guys all know that Jim is vegan. I don't think that's a secret.
No.
I hope you and Anita can find the time to go down there soon and get a chance to reflect back on the great work you've accomplished for our club. While you enjoy what I'm told will be tremendously good food. I also have your past president's official badge. And of course, wouldn't be complete without your official pin. So, that's for Jim.
Thank you, Steve. It's been an honor. I appreciate, as I said, every one of you has done a great deal for us.
So I think we're now to the part in the program where I become the president.
Thank God.
Who's president next Wednesday, Jim?
I believe we are probably in that limbo state. There is no meeting next Wednesday, so that's helpful. And as always, we've jointly done everything anyway. So I think officially it ends according to the district on the 30th, but I will tell you that he's been my partner. So I'd like to introduce at this point Mary Jane Shackelford. And she will be conducting today, we'll be conducting our installation. And I would like everyone, and she will become on the 30th. Or the first. Yeah. Will become the new district governor, and thank you for willingness to present. It isn't always that she's at every installation, so I appreciate her coming. And I would like to recognize new district governor, and a little early, but I'd like everyone to stand.
Oh, thank you. There you go. There you go. Well, before I install your new president, I do just kind of want to kudos to Jim and to the club. As you all know, and as Jim has stated, this has been an unusual year for everyone, both professionally, personally, obviously with the club. And as Steve says in his district governor visits during this past year, he says that Rotarians are a resilient bunch. And you all are indeed resilient. And you've done an amazing job continuing to do projects, continuing to invent new projects, finding new ways to meet and expand your reach worldwide, actually, through the Zoom. So you should all be very proud of yourself. I congratulate you on a successful and wonderful year. And Jim, congratulations to you for being a great leader and doing some amazing things. And so, we've got Ro Morrow, so she's the district youth services chair. John Butterfield, I don't know if everybody knows, he's on the district public image committee. So thank you, John. And Assistant Governor Wolf has been introduced, and of course Steve Heiser, who I think this is probably like his only third in-person meeting he's had for his entire year. so he's a little rusty. So, but so thank you all for it is indeed a team effort. So it's on the club level and district level. So thank you all. Are you ready?
Yes.
So Steve said, so there was, Jim didn't get to do president-elect's training in person, and Steve also did not get to do his president-elect's training. And for those that know, president-elect's training is usually a 2-day training where you drink from a fire hose, all things Rotary. And so Steve, as he mentioned earlier, had the opportunity, I guess, to be with me on a monthly basis starting in July. So he has been working very, very hard, has been planning for a long time. And so I'm very excited to be here today to install Steve. So we are assembled here today to usher in a new Rotary year, new leadership for this club. Our Rotary International President, Sheikh Armetta, for the year 21-22 has chosen Serve to Change Lives as our theme for this year. All of us came to Rotary to get involved and to make a difference. And in Rotary service, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So Steve, the members of the Rotary Club of, where am I? Thank you. So sorry, Steve, the members of the Rotary Club of Dublin, Worthington have entrusted you to lead the club this year. You must accept this new responsibility as one of trust in your judgment and knowledge of people. And upon that judgment and trust will rest the success of this club as an instrument of service for our local community and the world. In the administration of this club's affairs, you should exhibit the best in business tact and energy, possess the dignity of courage and evenness of mind, the promptness in business procedures and firmness in decision. Courtesy of manner and kindness of heart should characterize your every act, and I know it will.
Rotary in this community will be largely judged by the actions of this club through the quality of your leadership and the efforts of its members who you now have the opportunity to inspire. So it's with great honor I administer the oath of office. So please repeat after me. Steve Payerly. I, Steve Payerly, do solemnly swear
I, Steve Parley, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of club president.
that I will faithfully execute the office of club president,
There you go. And that I will, to the best of my ability,
and I will, to the best of my ability,
give support and assistance.
give support and assistance
This is my favorite part. To the district governor and to Rotary International. And that I will uphold the Constitution and bylaws of this club.
and I will uphold the Constitution and bylaws of this club.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, and fellow Rotarians, I welcome you and introduce to you your new Rotary president for 21-22, Steve Payerly. Congratulations, and I do believe I've got a special pin to present. Your official president's pin. Congratulations. Yay!
No,
Do you want me to do officers? Yeah.
so I'd like all officers and board members to come forward. For those officers and board members for the upcoming year.
So.
Oh, my.
I have a gorgeous, there you go.
My eye color.
I love this. I like how it's shown. This is terrific.
I wish I had to go for it.
All right. To incoming officers and directors. You have been elected to the important position in the administration of the Rotary Club of Dublin, Worthington. This is an indication of your fellow Rotarians' esteem and confidence in all of you. They also believe you will uphold the high traditions of your club, that you will give the best to your ability and work with diligence for the betterment of the club and for the carrying forward of the values of Rotary. I'm going to say a sentence, and your response will be, I will. Okay. No backing out now. No. Yeah. Will you fulfill the responsibilities of your offices to the best of your ability in accordance with the Constitution and bylaws of this club?
I will.
And I hereby declare the new officers and directors installed. Woo woo! There you go.
My 11th installation. Might be the best.
All right. Yeah, you are done. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
You moved the camera on me.
John wants pictures of everybody, so stick around afterwards. Steve, I think the microphone is yours.
Thank you. Jim Farmer, do you want to come up to do the introduction? Maybe, please. Go ahead. Yeah. No. Chris first. Yeah, Chris is first. No.
John, we need you.
No, it's Chris. Christie is going to do.
She's
last.
Yes. Okay, Christie, we need you.
Christie and John.
Oh, okay. Okay, Christie, let's go.
Somebody's introducing somebody.
No, it's Christie's introducing Paul.
Yeah.
So Paul and Christie. Let's go. For help, I support.
Stand at the podium or use. Yep.
It's my pleasure to introduce Paul Sincar as this year's Rookie of the Year and share some reasons why Paul was selected. John Butterfield, one of several members who nominated Paul, wrote, "Paul joined our club in December 2019. With COVID, it's been quite difficult for Paul and other new members to get involved, but Paul found a unique way to become engaged through his written profiles of members. What started as a red badge task to get to know 10 members has grown. As part of his involvement in the Public Image and Communications Committee, Paul now plans to interview and share the profiles of all members through the club's e-newsletter. Paul has really surpassed expectations of the Red Badge program." John continues, "I'm continually impressed with Paul's interviews and all the creativity and work he's put into getting to know the other members. What a great way to help members understand the characteristics of servant leadership and then apply them to the interviews of club members." John concludes, "With Paul's project is a major contribution to the club, as the interview stories have the potential to foster relationship building among all members and to identify strengths and interests of members, which can be tapped to strengthen our club. I don't know about you, but I've certainly learned a lot about fellow members through these profiles. For example, I think we all kind of knew Jim Miller liked to run, but did we know that he ran on the varsity cross-country team at OSU? I learned of Chuck Gibson's love of cars, which started at a young age, that Abe Ottolenghi is writing his memoir, and guitar playing is one of Dave Hanson's hobbies. It was touching to hear so many members who chose to have lunch with a deceased parent, grandparent, or another family member. Each one of Paul's interviews has given me new insights and opportunities to further explore with fellow members. So thanks, Paul, for helping me make meaningful connections with fellow members in the future." Also relevant to the Rookie Award is Paul's attendance at club meetings. Even though he joined other snowbirds in Florida during the winter months, Paul made it a priority to attend club meetings through Zoom and stay engaged. Paul lives in Worthington and was an administrator for the Worthington School District for 25 years, having served as principal of Worthington Middle School and as an assistant superintendent. He also was chief operating officer for Patel for Kids, a nonprofit organization that works with Ohio school districts to improve student achievement. He currently serves as a grant evaluator for the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation. Paul joined the club to help make our community a stronger and better place to live through the service opportunities of our club. He enjoys lifelong learning and appreciates the learning opportunities that the Rotary Club provides. He is already sharing his skills and knowledge to contribute in a meaningful way to our club. Paul is a worthy recipient of the Rookie of the Year Award. Please join me in recognizing Paul Sincar as our new rookie.
I don't take myself that seriously. Thank you so much. I'm absolutely honored to be here. So you know, I haven't worn a suit or dress shoes for 18 months, 2 years. And I had to do the shoes feel kind of. Anyway, how can a 69-year-old become Rookie of the Year? Just because it's I don't know. But I thought I was very pleased to do that. I was honored that when I was told that I was Rookie of the Year, then I was told I had to say something, and I go, what can I say? What would be meaningful about being an old Rookie of the Year? And so I thought back to some things. What I like about Rotary, the passion that you have for the projects you do and the people. And Rookie of the Year brought me back to my youth, to when I was a kid, and I felt like a kid again. And so I thought maybe that's the theme of what I should talk about. Tell me which button to push it. Steve.
Left or right, yeah.
Okay. So when we had to introduce ourselves the first time, I gave a little 5-minute speech, and I told you that I grew up in Pittsburgh, and you can take Pittsburgh out of the boy, but you can't take the boy out of Pittsburgh. And these things are authentic because I still do have that Steeler hat or Pirate hat
we were there. And even though I only spent 19 years in Pittsburgh and 50 years in Ohio, that DNA is still in my bones. That home feeling is still there. I still have that. My hero 60 years ago, I was 9 years old, 1960 World Series, Roberto Clemente absolutely has become a legend as one of the absolute best baseball players and best people in the whole world, and Bill Mazeroski. And as a 9-year-old, I would be in bed listening to my transistor radio and just dreaming about being on their team and playing baseball. It was just something I grew. They were my heroes. Baseball became my passion. Now, I wasn't really good at it, but baseball involved impact and strategy. It's off. There we go.
Green light. Oh, it's dead.
Hello?
Where's the other one? Here it is. It's on.
So baseball involved impact and strategy. The impact for me was I was a 9-year-old. I went to my first practice for Little League, and the coach was hitting bloopers, and I went to catch a fly ball, and it hit me right in the eye socket, and I got so that was impact. That was baseball's immediate impact. Strategy was, I learned how to deal with that though, and I became a mid-squinter. Now, if you don't know what a mid-squinter is, it's a player who, when they try to catch the ball and they miss it, turn the glove around and look at it like it was the glove's fault. So I'm a mid-squinter. So I stayed with baseball, and after college, I joined a local softball team in a beer league and all those kind of things, and I played shortstop. Now, what's a shortstop? A shortstop is the player who thinks they can play softball and have a beer at the same time. You know, I got out behind second base and do that. So I practiced that skill and became pretty proficient as a shortstop. Later, I got promoted to player coach. This is my first year in Worthington. We had a team of teachers and administrators in Worthington, played right over here on my fourth part, and they appointed me player coach. And at the end of the year, to recognize my astute coaching, they gave me a game ball, and I still have that game ball. We were 0-11 that year, and some Yogi Berra said, baseball is 90% mental and the other half is physical. So it was hard for me. I had a little bit of ADD, and it was hard for me to keep my head in the game. And so we were playing over here one day, and it was a very tight game. And the coach at the time said, Sinkar, go ahead and coach first base. Sure. So I ran on, I go to first base and coach, and all of a sudden, all kind of action. So there's a single, and then another single, and then there's another single. And we're about to, win this game. And I was so excited, and our power hitter came up, and he clocked it, a deep fly ball, long fly ball, and everybody ran around the bases, and we were screaming and jumping up, and the umpire's going, hold on, there's something wrong here. And I said, what's wrong? And he says, you guys just scored 5 runs. 5 runs? You can only score 4 runs on a grand slam home run. How did you score 5 runs? Well, it's because my head wasn't in the game. As people were running the base, I got excited and I started running around the base too. And I ran all around the base and I scored. So it took about 5 minutes, 6 minutes for the umpire to wait a minute, let's sort this out. What are you doing here? And so anyway, I'm glad there's not a video of that, but that's true stuff. I try to keep it up. I had this lifelong desire that I was going to play in the old timers league and do all those kind of things. And I didn't actually make it, but at Patel for Kids, we had a culture committee and we started a co-ed softball team. And so I was a pitcher and I played, and I tried to play all the way to 65. The problem was it was hard to run the bases, but it was harder to run to the bathroom between innings and get back on the field in time, so I knew when I wasn't doing it, I had to hang up my cleats. And I found myself now, instead of a glove, I had time on my hands. And that's when I found Rotary. And today, I feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. I know many of you from your community service for many, many, many years. And I listen to all the things that you do and all the things that you contribute. And it brings me back to that heroes that I had when I was a little kid. And I really appreciate it. I want to thank you for inviting me to join the team. And, I really feel like I made a new home. So it's kind of interesting that home plate and the Rotary pin are so close and so congruent, because that's kind of how, if you see my passion for baseball, you see my passion for Rotary. But I want to finish with one more thing. Yeah, I told you I was a Schlitzstop. I practiced 10,000 hours of practice, and it paid off. Spring training this year, here it is. You see, I was able to catch the ball and not spill the beer.
Next, we have, and in the interest of time, I'm going to keep my remarks brief because I've made many of the remarks that I feel about Steve to begin with. But I did want to highlight a couple things. First, who better to have than an IT expert during the pandemic? He, in fact, saved our club in many ways, many times. And not just to list a few things: Polio Plus, DR raffle, poinsettias, the sponsorship raffle, and the online auction. All of those things were the things that we raised money on. Guess who was the center of that? It was Steve. We could not have done anything. And Steve did tremendous in the background all the way. So it is with great honor I can introduce Steve as your Rotarian of the Year. Thank you.
Go through this quickly. I had always hoped to earn this award someday. To be considered by my peers, friends, colleagues as such a valuable contributor to this club that other people would stop and take notice. However, I wasn't expecting it this year. While I can certainly do without the recognition in and of itself, it is somewhat mentally, relaxing or satisfying, you might say, to have this sense of validation that the work and sacrifice that I put into our club and to the communities we serve is appreciated, and perhaps making an impact to the people whose lives I come in contact with. I joined Rotary because I believe in doing good and giving back, not as a way to rub elbows with potential business owners or use as bragging rights to help show, I'm busier than the next person. Rotary is an organization that, according to Wikipedia, which we all know is completely infallible, is a non-religious, non-political service organization. And when I first learned about Rotary, that was a major appeal, as in my mind, removing those two items allows for the truest sense of doing good and giving back to shine through. There are no other distractions to get in the way. Rotary allows me to satisfy that inherent desire to be a positive influence, and this award is certainly fuel for that fire. I also take this award as somewhat a symbol of the club's vote of confidence for my role as president for next year, which I greatly appreciate. So I thank you all very much.
We're singing through anyway.
Well, you guys all saw me. Sorry. Oh, that's still cool. We're back.
Did you do that again? We'll have to try.
The third award today is one that is not given out very often, one. And two is the highest award that we can provide. And I have the honor of and privilege of having that determination when we look at avenues of service. John Butterfield has for many years been a core heart of this club. He has done so much for the club on a day-to-day basis that it's almost unimaginable to me that he has any other life but Rotary. And he puts his heart into everything he does do. I said earlier that John knows a great deal and that he is not shy in expressing his opinion. But if I had my choice, and I do, I believe that that's the best kind of Rotarian there is. Because speaking the truth is speaking. It is not silence. When there is a discussion, you know where John stands. He is okay with people disagree. He's comfortable with the conflict. Also, though, John doesn't let that get in his way either in terms of energy. He is the bunny that never stops. He is the guy who, whenever you wonder about something, you can call up and he'll tell you where the information is and probably can send it to you within about 3 to 5 minutes. He knows where the bodies are buried. He knows how to make sure you don't uncover them. He helps as a great advisor. And for all of those reasons, I, as the president, have the honor of having nominated him for his service to this club. Now, Avenues of Service Awards, there are 5 areas. John this year is receiving 2 areas. The first is club service. And there are a lot of things he did there. One of the things that he started a few years back was board buddies. During the pandemic, let me tell you, board buddies works and is helpful. It was quite helpful to have board members contacting their small group. And that was extremely helpful this year. He also put me on the path of looking at the scholarship program. He has done many things in that club service area. The second award is for community service. I have not seen John miss a community service project. He may have at some point in your career, John, but I've never seen it. Anytime there is a project, you're there. Anytime a committee is meeting and looking at service projects, you're there. So it is with great honor that I give you 2, not 1, but 2 avenues of service. First, the Avenue of Service recognition for club service. And the second is for community service. Sure enough.
Okay, hold that pose, John.
I want to thank President Jim for nominating me for this district level citation. The Avenues of Service Award has changed since 2016 when Jerry Katz was the club's last recipient. Now club members may be nominated by the club president for 1 or more of the Avenues of Service. And if they receive a citation in each of the 5 avenues, they are then eligible for the Rotary's overall Avenues of Service Award. I'm honored to be recognized for club service and community service. Club service can take on many forms. Some of them are serving on committees or other club leadership positions, contributing significantly to the implementation of the club's long-term membership development program, or fostering relationships among club members and communicating with members and with community through media or other coverage of club activities. Among those, and those are among the areas that I chose to apply my career skills and experiences to serve our club over the past 24 years. Up until this year, I enjoyed arranging social activities to bring together members with their spouses or significant friends to strengthen relationships or develop new friendships. In 2000, we started rah-rah events at restaurants and other eateries. And then in 2009, we initiated rah-rahs hosted by club members at their homes or businesses. Rah-rahs was an expression coined by Dave King, meaning Rotary After Hours. Since then, we have held 55 rah-rahs with 34 members hosting the events. And May 20th, in response to COVID restrictions, we scheduled 5 consecutive nights of rah-rahs through Zoom, one even connecting us with our fellow Rotarians in the Dominican Republic. If you've been a host, please give a wave. If you've been a rah-rah host, please give a wave. You have made our club stronger. We even added prospective members to the mix of attendees so they could see and experience firsthand the strong bonds of friendship that are developed through Rotary and a commitment to service. My congratulations and thanks to Katie McCartney for now leading our social activities. Many years ago, I started getting concerned about the decline in the club's membership and the demographic aging of our club. Did you know that the average age of the club this year of the members of the club is 66? 72% of our members are 60 or older, and about half of us are 70 or older. So 6 years ago, I got involved in the membership committee. We did research. The club's membership peaked at 123 in 2002 and began its decline to 80 in 2017, with a loss of 28 members in the previous 4 years. We began tracking age, gender, and work status of our members and developed a plan to grow our club's membership. We revamped our website to appeal to our target markets. We adjusted our meeting times, changed meeting locations while improving the food and lowering the cost, expanded our membership categories, and most importantly, made members aware of the issue and sought their help. And you responded. As a result of our initiatives and your support, we grew our membership to 90 by the end of 2018-19. But membership growth is an ongoing challenge. Although we gained 10 new members last year, we lost 15 members. And our decline has continued this year with COVID hampering recruitment efforts. We will likely end the year at 79 members. Our club is again at a crossroads. Do members want a vibrant club with new and experienced members and a diverse membership? Or do we want a club with aging members, continuing loss of existing members, and a loss of resources? Let your club leaders know your preferred vision. New members bring new ideas, enthusiasm, and commitment to service. They are the future leaders of our club. 5 of our board members, including our president and president-elect, have joined since 2017-18. Tapping members' expertise and interests in meaningful engagement and fostering strong relationships are also key to the club's growth and health. Finally, community service. Service is the heart of our organization, and I have looked forward to joining fellow members on improving the quality of life in our community in a variety of projects over the years. One of the most memorable ones is the one that Mike Moulton and I co-chaired last year, final phase of a 4-phase landscaping beautification project on the grounds of the Marola Community Pavilion. A total of 45 people participated in the event, which was a collaborative project involving club members and their family members and friends, community members and their families, city leaders, school staff and their family members, and a member of the Worthington AM Club. The project was funded through our club, a district grant, and a city grant of $500. Most volunteers worked about an hour and a half, and some even worked for 3 hours or more. They installed a shade garden, replaced plants that had died, weeded, and installed rain barrels. We were tired, but we certainly had a sense of accomplishment. We had created a place of beauty and enhance the natural environment surrounding the Marola. The project had all the right elements: partnerships, community and member engagement, multiple funders, adult and children volunteers, and tangible results. It reinforced that when everyone works together in the service of others, amazing things happen. And I can't think of a better place to serve others and make a difference than alongside not only 80 amazing people in the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club, but also the thousands and thousands of Rotarians worldwide. We may recite the four-way test in different languages across the world, but we all have the same motto: service above self, and that's what we believe we are here to serve. Thanks, Jim, again for this honor.
I think, so in the interest of time, since we're already over 20 minutes past, I'm supposed to give a preview of the next coming year, and that's going to take some time. So I think we will do that at the first meeting of July. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. I think that.
Four-way test.
Yeah, we're going to do the four-way test right now.
Wait, you don't have to go.
Too late.
I'm happy.
We'll still be happy next week.
Yeah. All right. So I guess, Ken, you want to do this one last time?
One last time, everybody stand. And of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it true? Second,
Is it fair to all
concerned?
3,
Will and better friendships.
and 4,
will it be
Will be
beneficial?
beneficial to all concerned.
meeting is on Zoom, or no, in presence, here at 7:30, the first Wednesday of July.